The sky above Earth turned an eerie shade of orange as the massive alien ship descended into orbit. It was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. A sleek, metallic craft that shimmered faintly, its surface glowing with patterns that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. People all over the world stopped what they were doing to stare up at the skies, their faces filled with awe and fear. News channels scrambled to cover the event, broadcasting live footage from every corner of the globe. The arrival of the aliens wasn't just news, it was history. Governments around the world quickly convened emergency meetings. The United Nations assembled a team to handle this unprecedented situation. Among them was Dr. Laura Bennett, a soft-spoken astrophysicist known for her calm demeanor under pressure. She had spent years studying the stars, but nothing could have prepared her for this moment. Joining her was Captain Ryan Carter, a soldier with a reputation for being tough yet fair. His job was clear: ensure the safety of the human delegation during any interactions with the visitors. The aliens, who called themselves the Veilith, wasted no time. Within hours of their arrival, they sent a signal, a series of mathematical patterns transmitted via radio waves. Scientists worked tirelessly to decode the message, which eventually revealed a simple greeting and an invitation for dialogue. The Veilith claimed their intentions were peaceful, though there was something unsettling about their tone. Their words felt cold, almost clinical, as if they viewed humanity not as equals but as subjects of study. A meeting point was arranged in space, near the edge of Earth's atmosphere. A small spacecraft carrying the human delegation launched toward the Veilith vessel. Alongside Dr. Bennett and Captain Carter were two others. Daniel Hayes, a linguist tasked with deciphering the alien language, and Samantha Sam Riley, a young engineer fascinated by advanced technology. Each member of the team carried the weight of billions on their shoulders, knowing that their actions would shape humanity's future. When the humans boarded the Veilith ship, they were struck by how strange it felt. The interior was vast and sterile, with smooth walls devoid of decoration or warmth. Everything seemed designed for efficiency rather than comfort. The air smelled faintly metallic, and the lighting was dim, casting long shadows across the floor. Standing before them were the Veilith themselves, tall, slender beings with translucent skin that revealed intricate, vein-like structures beneath. Their eyes glowed softly, and their movements were deliberate, almost mechanical. Zyril III, the leader of the Veilith, stepped forward to address the humans. Its voice came through a translator device, sounding flat and emotionless. "We have observed your species for many cycles," it began. "Your rapid evolution intrigues us. However, recent developments in your technology concern us." Dr. Bennett exchanged a glance with Captain Carter. Concern. What did they mean by that? Before she could ask, Cyril III continued, "Your kind shows great potential, but also great danger. We must understand you better." The words hung heavy in the air. Danger. Was that why they had come? To warn humanity, or to intervene? As the meeting progressed, the humans couldn't shake the feeling that the Veilith weren't telling them everything. There was a detachment in their manner, a sense that they saw humanity as less than equal. Still, the delegation listened carefully, determined to learn as much as they could. By the time the meeting ended, one thing was certain. The arrival of the Veilith marked the beginning of a new chapter for humanity, one filled with both promise and peril. Whatever lay ahead, the humans knew they had to face it together. The human delegation returned to Earth with mixed feelings. The Veilith had agreed to continue communication, but the encounter left everyone uneasy. Dr. Laura Bennett replayed the meeting in her mind over and over. The aliens' cold demeanor, their cryptic warnings about humanity's danger, and their clinical curiosity about Earth weighed heavily on her. She tried to focus on the positives. The Veilith hadn't shown any signs of hostility, at least not yet, but something about them felt off. Captain Ryan Carter shared her unease. As a soldier, he trusted his instincts, and they were screaming that the Veilith weren't being entirely honest. He couldn't shake the image of their glowing eyes or the way they moved. Too precise, too calculated. It made him wonder if the aliens saw humans as more than just an interesting species to study. Did they see them as a threat? Or worse, as tools to be used? Daniel Hayes, the linguist, was more fascinated than frightened. He spent hours poring over recordings of the Valith's speech patterns, trying to find hidden meanings in their words. Samantha Sam Riley, the engineer, kept sketching designs of the alien ship based on what she'd seen during their visit. Both of them were eager to learn more, though for different reasons. Daniel wanted to understand the Valith's language and culture, while Sam was obsessed with their technology. She couldn't stop thinking about the sleek design of their ship and how advanced it seemed compared to anything humans had built. Back at the United Nations headquarters, the team prepared for their next meeting with the Valith. This time, the aliens invited them aboard their vessel again, promising to share more information about their observations of Earth. The humans accepted, though not without hesitation. Captain Carter insisted on bringing additional security measures, including encrypted communication devices and backup plans in case things went wrong. When they arrived at the Valith ship, the atmosphere felt even stranger than before. The delegation stepped out of their spacecraft and into the aliens' domain, greeted once again by Cyril III. The leader wasted no time getting to the point. "We have analyzed your history," it said, its voice still flat and emotionless. "Your species has evolved rapidly, far faster than others we have encountered." Dr. Bennett leaned forward, intrigued. "Why do you think that is?" she asked. Cyril III paused, as if considering how much to reveal. "Your genetic makeup is unique. It contains traits that suggest deliberate engineering." The room fell silent. Deliberate engineering. What did that mean? Before anyone could ask, Cyril III continued. "Your aggression, adaptability, resilience, all these qualities are unusually pronounced. They make your species capable of great achievements, but also great destruction." Captain Carter frowned. "Are you saying we're dangerous?" "We are saying you are unpredictable," Cyril III replied. "And unpredictability can lead to conflict." The delegation exchanged worried glances. If the Valith believed humans were dangerous, why had they come here? Were they trying to help or control them? Daniel raised his hand hesitantly. "You mentioned deliberate engineering. Who do you think did this to us?" Cyril III tilted its head slightly, a gesture that might have been curiosity. "We do not know, but whoever they were, they left behind traces of their work, traces we intend to investigate further." As the meeting ended, the humans left the Valith ship with more questions than answers. Back on Earth, tensions began to rise. Governments argued over how to respond, while the public grew restless. Some people saw the Valith as saviors offering knowledge, while others viewed them as invaders hiding their true intentions. Within the delegation itself, cracks started to form. Dr. Bennett believed the Valith could help humanity improve, but Captain Carter wasn't so sure. He didn't trust them, and he wasn't alone. That night, as Sam reviewed her notes, she noticed something odd. A faint pattern in the background of one of the Valith's transmissions, a sequence she hadn't paid attention to before. It looked like code. She showed it to Daniel, who immediately recognized it as a mathematical encryption. Together, they began working late into the night, determined to uncover what the Valith might be hiding. Little did they know, their discovery would change everything. Sam and Daniel stayed up all night trying to decode the strange pattern they had found in the Valith's transmission. At first, it seemed like random numbers, but as they worked, a clearer picture began to emerge. The sequence wasn't just code, it was a map that pointed to something buried deep beneath Earth's surface. Sam stared at the screen, her heart racing. "What does this mean?" she whispered. Daniel leaned back in his chair, rubbing his tired eyes. "I don't know," he admitted. "But if the Valith were hiding this, it has to be important." The next morning, the team gathered to discuss their findings. Dr. Laura Bennett listened carefully as Sam explained what she and Daniel had discovered. Captain Ryan Carter crossed his arms, his expression skeptical. "You're telling me the aliens left a treasure map on Earth? That doesn't make sense." "It's not a treasure map," Daniel said quickly. "It's more like coordinates, something the Valith didn't want us to see. Maybe it's evidence of whoever engineered humanity." Dr. Bennett frowned. "If that's true, we need to investigate. But we can't do it alone. We'll have to tell the United Nations." Captain Carter shook his head firmly. "No way. If word gets out, governments will turn this into a race for power. We need to handle this quietly. For now." After much debate, the team agreed to keep the discovery secret. They decided to send a small group to investigate the location marked on the map. It led them to a remote desert in Africa, far from prying eyes. The journey was long and grueling, but when they arrived, they found exactly what the map had promised: an ancient structure buried under layers of sand. As archaeologists carefully uncovered the site, they revealed a massive stone door covered in unfamiliar symbols. Daniel studied the markings closely. "This isn't human," he said. "It's older, much older." Using equipment brought from the lab, Sam managed to activate a mechanism that opened the door with a low rumble. Inside, the air was cool and stale, carrying the faint scent of earth and metal. The team stepped cautiously into the dark chamber, their flashlights cutting through the shadows. What they found took their breath away. Rows of intricate carvings lined the walls, depicting scenes of beings unlike anything they'd ever seen. Tall, elegant figures stood alongside primitive humans, guiding them, teaching them. In one carving, the tall beings handed tools and weapons to early humans. In another, they appeared to be altering the humans' bodies, changing them in some way. Dr. Bennett traced her fingers over the images, her mind racing. "This is proof," she murmured. "The Valith were right. Humanity didn't evolve naturally. We were designed." Captain Carter looked uneasy. "By who? And why?" Daniel pointed to another section of the wall. There, among the carvings, was a symbol that matched the glowing patterns on the Valith ship. "Maybe the Valith know more than they're telling us," he suggested. At the center of the chamber stood a pedestal holding a crystalline object. It pulsed faintly, almost like it was alive. Sam approached it hesitantly, her hands trembling. When she touched the crystal, a surge of energy coursed through the room, and a holographic image appeared above the pedestal. It showed the galaxy, with Earth highlighted in bright blue. Surrounding it were other planets, each marked with symbols indicating civilizations. "This changes everything," Dr. Bennett said softly. "We're part of something bigger than we ever imagined." But Captain Carter wasn't convinced. Or maybe it's a trap. Why would the Valith lead us here if they didn't want us to find this? Before anyone could answer, the hologram shifted, showing a new image, a monstrous creature with jagged teeth and glowing red eyes. Beneath it was a warning written in a language none of them could read. Daniel tried to translate it, but even he couldn't decipher the full message. One thing was clear: whoever had engineered humanity hadn't done it out of kindness. They had prepared Earth for something, and whatever it was, it might still be coming. The discovery in the ancient chamber left the team shaken. They returned to their base camp under the hot desert sun, each person lost in their own thoughts. Dr. Laura Bennett couldn't stop thinking about the carvings and the hologram. The images suggested that humanity had been created for a purpose. But what was it? And why would an advanced civilization go to such lengths to shape early humans? She felt torn between awe at the revelation and fear of its implications. Captain Ryan Carter, on the other hand, was more focused on the warning in the hologram. The monstrous creature haunted him. What did it mean? Was it a threat from the past, or something yet to come? He didn't trust the Valith's intentions anymore. If they knew about this place, why hadn't they told the humans? Why let them stumble upon it instead? Daniel Hayes spent hours trying to translate the unreadable text beneath the creature's image. His frustration grew as he realized how complex the language was. "It's not like anything I've ever seen," he muttered. "This wasn't meant for us to understand." Sam Riley sat nearby, staring at photos of the glowing crystal. Something about it bothered her. "What if it's a trap?" she said suddenly, breaking the silence. "What if the Vailith wanted us to find this? Maybe they're using it to scare us into doing what they want." Dr. Bennett frowned. "But why would they need to scare us? They're far more advanced than we are. If they wanted to control us, they could do it without all this mystery." "Unless they're not the ones in control," Sam replied. Her words hung heavy in the air. Back at the United Nations headquarters, news of the discovery leaked. No one was sure how. Perhaps someone on the team had spoken too freely. But soon, governments around the world were demanding answers. Some leaders saw the findings as proof that humanity needed guidance, possibly even from the Vailith. Others viewed it as evidence that Earth should prepare for war, whether against the aliens or whatever else might be out there. Public opinion became divided as well. Religious groups claimed the carvings proved divine intervention, while conspiracy theorists accused the Vailith of manipulating humanity for their own gain. Protests erupted in cities worldwide, with some people calling for peace and others urging resistance. Within the delegation itself, tensions reached a breaking point. Dr. Bennett argued that humanity needed to remain calm and open-minded. "We don't know enough yet," she insisted. "Jumping to conclusions will only make things worse." Captain Carter disagreed. "Open-mindedness won't protect us if the Vailith decide we're a threat. We need to be ready for anything." Daniel tried to stay neutral, but his obsession with the unreadable text consumed him. He barely slept, poring over every detail of the carvings and the hologram. One night, while studying the symbols, he noticed something new, a faint pattern hidden within the text. It matched the mathematical sequences the Vailith had used during their first transmission. "They'd been here before," Daniel whispered to himself. "They'd been watching us for a long time." When he shared his findings with the group, Sam immediately suspected the worst. If they've been watching us, then everything they've said so far could be a lie. Maybe they're not here to help. They're here to clean up their mess. Dr. Bennett refused to believe it. "That's speculation. We can't accuse them without proof. We can't trust them blindly either." Captain Carter shot back. "Not after this." As the debate raged on, the team received a message from the Vailith. 03 requested another meeting aboard their ship. This time, however, the tone of the message was different, urgent, almost impatient. The aliens wanted answers, and they wanted them now. The delegation prepared for the meeting, though none of them felt ready. They argued over what to say, how much to reveal, and whether they should confront the Vailith about the hidden chamber. By the time they boarded the spacecraft, the cracks in their unity were undeniable. 03 greeted them with the same cold detachment as before. "You have uncovered something significant," it said. "Tell us what you have learned." Dr. Bennett hesitated, unsure how to respond. But Captain Carter stepped forward, his voice firm. "Why didn't you tell us about the chamber? Why let us find it ourselves?" For the first time, 03 seemed unsettled. Its glowing eyes dimmed slightly, and its movements became slower, more deliberate. "We did not anticipate your discovery," it admitted. "But now that you know, you must understand the truth. Humanity was built for war, and wars always leave scars." The room fell silent after 03's words. "Wars always leave scars." The statement hung in the air, heavy and ominous. Dr. Laura Bennett felt a chill run down her spine. She glanced at Captain Ryan Carter, whose jaw was clenched tightly. Even Daniel Hayes and Sam Riley exchanged uneasy looks. None of them knew how to respond. "What do you mean by that?" Dr. Bennett finally asked, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. "Are you saying humanity was created for war? By whom? And why?" 03 tilted its head slightly, as if considering the question. "The creators shaped your species long ago," it said. "They designed you to be resilient, adaptable, and capable of great violence. These traits served a purpose, to fight an enemy far older and more dangerous than your kind can imagine." Captain Carter stepped forward, his hands balled into fists. So you're telling us we were made to be soldiers, tools for someone else's battle? In a way, yes, Xyril 3 replied without emotion. But the creators are gone now. Their empire fell to the Caliph, a species that consumes and destroys everything in its path. The Caliph hunts civilizations like yours, erasing them before they grow strong enough to pose a threat. Sam Riley's mind raced. If the creators are gone, why are you here? What do you want from us? Cyril 3 hesitated, its glowing eyes dimming briefly. We have watched your species for cycles, ensuring you did not advance too quickly. Your rapid development alarmed us. If you attract the attention of the Caliph, it could bring devastation not only to Earth, but to countless others. Daniel frowned. You've been holding us back, keeping us weak on purpose. It was necessary, Xyril 3 said. Your warlike nature makes you unpredictable. Left unchecked, you could destabilize the galaxy, or worse, draw the Caliph here prematurely. The humans stared at each other, anger and disbelief bubbling beneath the surface. Captain Carter broke the silence. So what now? You just take over? Tell us what to do. No, Xyril 3 replied. We offer integration. Join our empire under supervision. We will guide your development, ensuring you do not repeat the mistakes of the past. Dr. Bennett shook her head. That sounds like control, not guidance. It is protection. Xyril 3 insisted. Without us, your species may not survive. The delegation returned to Earth deeply divided. Dr. Bennett believed the Valith's proposal might be humanity's best chance at survival, even if it meant giving up some freedom. Captain Carter, however, saw it as surrender. They want to strip us of who we are, he argued during one heated meeting. We can't let them dictate our future. Daniel spent hours studying the carvings and the hologram again, searching for answers. He began to notice patterns linking the creators' symbols to ancient human myths, stories of gods shaping mortals, teaching them skills, and warning them of monsters. Could these myths be memories of the creators? Fragments passed down through generations. Sam, meanwhile, focused on the crystal they had found. It still pulsed faintly, almost alive. She suspected it held more information but couldn't figure out how to unlock it. Frustrated, she confided in Daniel. What if this thing is a key? She asked. A weapon, maybe. Something the creators left behind to help us fight the Caliph. Daniel's eyes widened. If it is, then the Valith definitely don't want us to use it. Their conversation gave Captain Carter an idea. Maybe we don't need the Valith, he said later. If the creators left something behind, maybe we can use it to protect ourselves and prove we're more than just tools for war. Dr. Bennett wasn't convinced. And if we fail, what then? Humanity isn't ready to face whatever's out there. As the debate continued, tensions between world leaders escalated. Some countries sided with the Valith, eager to accept their guidance. Others prepared for conflict, fearing subjugation. The cracks in humanity's unity grew wider with each passing day. One night, while reviewing footage from the chamber, Sam noticed something new. Hidden among the carvings was a map, not of Earth, but of space. It pointed to a distant star system marked with the same symbol as the crystal. This is where the creators came from, she whispered. And maybe, where the Caliph are headed next. Her discovery reignited hope within the team, but also fear. Whatever decision they made, it would shape humanity's destiny forever. The map Sam discovered changed everything. It wasn't just a clue about the creators. It was a warning. The distant star system marked on the map was surrounded by symbols that looked like fire and destruction. To Daniel, it seemed clear this was where the Caliph had attacked last, and if they followed the same path, Earth could be next. Captain Ryan Carter wasted no time. We need to act, he said firmly during their next meeting. If the Valith won't help us fight, we'll find a way ourselves. Dr. Laura Bennett hesitated. But we don't even know what we're dealing with. The Caliph are out there somewhere, and we have no idea how to stop them. We have the crystal, Sam interrupted. Her voice was steady, though her hands trembled as she held it. "It's not just a piece of alien tech. It's a weapon, or at least it could be. We just need to figure out how to use it." Daniel nodded. "And the map gives us a direction. If we can trace the Calith's movements, maybe we can learn more about their weaknesses." The team agreed to keep their findings secret from the Valith. They knew the aliens wouldn't approve of humans taking matters into their own hands. But Captain Carter also knew they couldn't do this alone. He reached out to trusted military contacts, assembling a small group of soldiers and scientists willing to risk everything for humanity's survival. Their plan was risky. Travel to the location marked on the map, retrieve any remaining artifacts left by the creators, and prepare for the possibility of war. The journey would take them far from Earth, into uncharted space. For the first time, humanity would step beyond its solar system, not as explorers, but as defenders. Before leaving, Daniel made one final discovery. Hidden within the carvings was a message written in fragments of ancient human languages. When pieced together, it read, ***, strength lies not in weapons, but in unity." He shared it with the team, hoping it would remind them why they were doing this, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. As the mission began, tensions ran high. Dr. Bennett stayed behind to coordinate efforts on Earth, while Captain Carter led the expedition. Alongside him were Sam, Daniel, and a handful of others chosen for their skills and courage. Their ship, equipped with advanced technology reverse-engineered from the Valith's designs, launched into the unknown. Days turned into weeks as they traveled through the vast emptiness of space. The destination loomed ahead, a barren planet orbiting a dying star. As they landed, the air felt heavy with dread. The surface was littered with ruins, remnants of the Creator's once great civilization. Towering structures stood broken, their walls scorched and crumbling. It was clear the Calith had been here. Sam and Daniel worked quickly, searching for anything that could help them. In the heart of the ruins, they found another chamber, similar to the one on Earth. Inside was a pedestal holding a second crystal, identical to the one they'd brought with them. When Sam placed the two crystals together, they fused, emitting a blinding light. A hologram appeared, showing the Calith in full detail. Massive, insect-like creatures with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp claws. "They're coming," Daniel whispered, his voice trembling. Captain Carter clenched his fists. "Then we'll be ready." Back on Earth, Dr. Bennett monitored their progress anxiously. She knew the risks they were taking, and the sacrifices they might have to make. But deep down, she believed in their mission. Humanity had always been fighters, survivors. Now they had a chance to prove it wasn't just their nature, it was their strength. When the team returned to Earth, they carried not only the fused crystal, but also a newfound determination. The Calith were real, and they were coming. But humanity wasn't going to wait in fear. They would face the threat head-on, united, not as tools of war, but as masters of their own destiny. The fused crystal became humanity's greatest hope and its heaviest burden. When the team returned to Earth, they shared what they had learned with Dr. Laura Bennett and the rest of the delegation. The hologram from the ruins showed the Calith in terrifying detail, relentless, merciless, and far more advanced than anything humanity had faced before. But it also revealed something else. Weaknesses. The Calith relied on overwhelming force, but their ships had vulnerable points. If humans could strike there, they might stand a chance. Captain Ryan Carter took charge of preparing Earth for battle. He worked closely with military leaders worldwide, pooling resources and technology. Engineers studied the fused crystal, learning how to harness its power as a weapon. Factories churned out new spacecraft designed to combat the Calith, while pilots trained tirelessly for the fight ahead. For the first time in history, humanity united under a single purpose: survival. But unity came at a cost. Some countries resisted giving up control to a global coalition, fearing loss of power. Others doubted the mission entirely, believing the Valith's offer of integration was still the safer path. Tensions flared, and protests erupted across the globe. Despite this, Captain Carter pressed on. "We don't have time to argue," he told anyone who would listen. "If we don't prepare now, we won't get another chance." Sam Riley and Daniel Hayes continued studying the crystal, uncovering secrets hidden within its glowing surface. They discovered that it wasn't just a weapon, it was a beacon. When activated, it could send a signal across the galaxy, calling for help. But who would answer? The creators were gone, and the Valeth had made it clear they wouldn't intervene unless humanity submitted to their rule. Dr. Bennett proposed a bold idea. What if we used the beacon to reach out to other civilizations? The ones marked on the map. Maybe some of them survived the Caliph and are willing to fight alongside us. It was a risky plan, but the team agreed it was worth trying. With Sam's help, they activated the beacon, sending its signal into the depths of space. Days passed with no response, and hope began to fade. Then, one night, a fleet of ships appeared near Earth's orbit. Not human, not Valeth, but something entirely new. Dozens of species, each scurred by the Caliph, had answered the call. Their leader, a towering being named Zurin, addressed the humans through a translator. "The Caliph destroyed our homes. We have waited centuries for a chance to strike back. Together, we can end their reign of terror." For the first time since the Valeth's arrival, humanity felt a glimmer of hope. Under Zurin's guidance, the Allied fleet devised a strategy to confront the Caliph. Each species contributed its strengths: advanced weapons, stealth technology, and knowledge of the enemy's tactics. Humans brought resilience and adaptability, the very traits the creators had given them. The final battle took place in a distant star system, where the Caliph's forces gathered for their next assault. The Allied fleet launched a coordinated attack, targeting the weak points Daniel and Sam had identified. Explosions lit up the void as ships clashed in a desperate struggle for survival. Humanity fought bravely, proving themselves worthy allies despite their limited experience. In the end, it was the fused crystal that turned the tide. When activated at full power, it unleashed an energy wave that disabled the Caliph's flagship, leaving them vulnerable. Zurin led the final charge, destroying the heart of the enemy fleet. The Caliph retreated, broken and scattered. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted around the globe. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged victorious, not alone, but as part of something greater. The warlike nature that once seemed like a curse had become their strength. And though scars remained, so did the promise of peace. As Captain Carter looked up at the stars, he felt a quiet pride. Humanity wasn't perfect, but they had chosen to fight for life, for unity. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together.